So now we're talking commercial. I wanted to go through a couple of key terms and explain different things about the commercial world, construction, leases, and just terms that you should know as you get into the commercial world, whether you be an investor or whether you be a realtor, okay? Price per square foot, build, rent, sell. A lot of things in the commercial world are done on a per square foot basis. So when you're building something and you're factoring in, your return and what it's going to cost you to build, you're going to figure out what's my per square foot price to build something. It's, $100 a square foot, 1,000 square foot building. You do the math, that's what it costs, right? That's just the construction. There's a lot of other pieces to that though. When you're renting office, how much is renting per square foot? So if you have 1,000 square foot office building and you're renting it for $20 a square foot, it's $20,000. That's for the year. So you take the $20,000 for the year, you divide it by 12. That's your monthly payment, but that's your price per square foot to rent. Same thing is selling. When you're looking around and say, okay, strip centers or office buildings or et cetera, and that are class A in this location are selling for this number, well, what's the price per square foot that they're selling it for? This way, if you were building one and you're like, okay, they're selling for $400 a square foot, it's gonna cost me $50 a square foot in land cost. It's gonna cost me $100 a square foot to build it. It's gonna cost me $100 a square foot in money, soft costs, architectural fees, ancillary costs. I'm all in for $300 and they're selling for $450. I could sell it and make a spread, or I can't, right? Things that you should know. Different kind of leases. There's all different kinds of leases. Let's talk about a triple net lease. This is like the holy grail. Older people just collecting a check. This is like the definition of mailbox money. You have something, a CVS. You don't do anything. You don't pay the taxes. You don't pay the insurance. You pay the mortgage. You don't pay the electricity. You don't pay the maintenance. You don't pay anything. They don't call you for shit. All they do is send you a check every month in the mail. That's a triple net lease. Now there's double net, there's single net, there's all kinds of different leases. Modified gross. That's when you as the landlord are paying the taxes, maybe they're paying part of the utilities. There's no rules to this. Everything is up for negotiation. You just have to understand what's going on in your market that you're developing in, all right? Base year taxes. If you have a deal with somebody, I'm gonna lease this shopping center space for $20 a square foot to you, plus utilities, but this is the base year taxes. So the base year taxes are $40,000 this year. Every year from that point on, we're gonna increase your rent by 3%, and you're gonna pay the increase in the taxes from the base year that you started on a per square foot level, right? So if you have a 40,000 square foot facility and the taxes go up and you have half of that, half of the facility is yours, you have to pay half of the tax increase from that year going forward for the life that you lease that space, right? Tenant improvements, or TI. If you're a tenant and you're moving into a space, you're gonna request that the landlord do certain things for you. If you're a landlord, if you're a builder, you're gonna offer or negotiate for a certain amount of TI. Meaning, and this is all done on a square foot basis, price per square foot. I'm gonna build a shopping center, it's gonna be a bare box, it's not finished on the inside. You wanna move in, you're Starbucks, I'm gonna give you $10 a square foot as an allowance towards your build out, or 20 or 50 or nothing. It really depends, but this is something you need to know. Realtors out there, there's roughly 29,000 realtors on Long Island right now, I believe. I think there's only 300 commercial agents out there right now. 7s and 3s. This is how commercial realtors get paid on leases, and this is crazy shit, all right? If you have a shopping center that's being leased for 10 years, they get 7% of the annual gross every year for the first 3 years, and 3% for the remaining 7 years in one lump sum in a check. So if you have a 4,000 square foot shopping center that's renting for $30 a square foot, is $120,000 a year. They get 7% of $120,000 year 1, year 2, year 3, and they get 3% of $120,000 years 4 through 10, not including the increases. So if it goes up 3% every year, the rent, they're getting 7% years 1 through 3 and 3% years 4 through 10. And they get it usually in one lump sum or a couple checks, but not spaced over a significant amount of time. So if you're a realtor who wants to make serious money and hustle with a lot less competition, being a commercial real estate agent is something you very much might want to consider. So we're out in North Massapequa on a commercial lot development site that we recently got under contract. We're doing this deal subject to getting the building permits approved to build essentially whatever we want. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a built to suit for either a medical office building or a retail facility. So we'll show you some pictures as you pan around. It's a great site. It's 26,000 square feet. It's on a corner. It stretches block to block. It's got a light. It's got good parkway access, 3 different parkways. You have the Bethpage State Parkway, you have the Southern State Parkway, you have the 135. You have 24,000 car count every day shooting up and down North Broadway. So this lends itself to a certain kind of development. You gotta know that. You gotta know, okay, you know, if I have a site and I'm looking to put a McDonald's there, McDonald's wants to be on a Sunrise Highway, or they want to be in an area where they have massive traffic and they're going to pay for that. But that still doesn't mean that sites like this, that are, let's say, a B-rated site versus an A-rated site, can't do well. The numbers just have to reflect. So what do? I go on CoStar, I go search around, I look up and down the strip, I see what things are renting for, what the sizes is, and I put a best and worst case scenario. And in the worst case scenario, if I'm safe and I'm making money and I'm happy, I go for it, and then I learn through the process. But this one we're going to be building specifically to suit either a retail tenant or a medical tenant. We're in negotiations right now. We just signed up with a top commercial broker on Long Island, one of the top 10 leasing agents on Long Island. And we're going to be putting it out. The renderings are just done. It's going to be going out next week. And we already have a bunch of interested parties. A bank with a drive-through. With this particular space, we can get 11,000 square feet of office on 2 stories. We can get 8,500 square foot on 1 level, or we could do 6,000 square feet with a drive-through component. We can even get a fast food or Starbucks type drive-through with a special use permit as well. So this is really exciting, a lot of potential, a lot of interest. Going to be a great project. I'm happy to get it started. We'll check in, you guys will check in with us a few months down the road as we start the build, as we sign the lease, and we're going to show you exactly what we're doing and how we do it.